I am convinced that human connection is like a vitamin. Have you ever had a vitamin deficiency? If you have, you'll know how life-changing it is to start taking the missing vitamin. Suddenly your energy levels go up, and miraculously you are healthier almost overnight. Look back at the events of 2020. The numbers make a compelling case. At the height of the lockdowns, people were losing their minds.
And CDC numbers show as recent as June, 40% of Americans dealt with mental health or substance abuse. 11% say they seriously considered suicide.
But to the veteran community, the question of mental health and suicide isn't a new phenomenon. Far from it.
Says the hospital had a chance to help him, but they didn't.
Carol describes death by bureaucracy.
Average 20 veterans take their own lives every day.
Like other soldiers who die in
veterans
combat
from committing suicide.
Broken ankle.
Go ask 100 different veterans to name one thing they miss about their time in service, and I guarantee the majority will answer similarly. Whether you're talking to an admin clerk who never saw a single day in combat, or a grunt who spent years in a combat zone, the answer is near universal. I miss my platoon. But what if your deficiency goes deeper than that? What if it's purpose that you're deficient in? Let's think about this. In the military, you're given a title, a skill set, and a mission. Say you're a medic. You are a medic when you wake up, when you work, and when you sleep. You train constantly because lives depend on it. It doesn't matter that you're 19 and your last job was at a Walmart. Now, you are Doc.
Hey, find the fucking chest seal. Boss, I got an entrance wound on right, left side.
And you are deeply and intimately connected to your platoon and their survival. Your mission and your purpose are crucial to preserve human life, or more importantly, to bring your guys back home. Now, take that connection and purpose away. Add a dash of trauma in there. And now, you have a ticking time bomb.
When we came home, the people that loved us the most didn't understand us anymore. The people that we were closest to, we couldn't even talk to anymore. We felt isolated, we felt trapped. We felt like we were weird, something was wrong with us. They couldn't understand why we couldn't just get over it. The war's over, you're home now. Why can't you be normal?
Suicide rates have been a dark secret within the military and veteran community for generations. Again, ask 100 veterans if they have lost a friend to enemy fire, and the vast majority will say no. Now ask them if they've lost a friend to suicide. Their answer may shock you. It's an issue close to me. Not just because I am a veteran or because I have lost friends and mentors to suicide, but because I also came alarmingly close to that lowest point. Then I start hearing about this organization named Irreverent Warriors, whose stated mission is to prevent veteran suicide, and I was intrigued.
They'll just be wearing their silkies, their combat boots, and a smile.
They started Irreverent Warriors to put on events like this with the message, brotherhood will never die.
And you know what? It sounded dumb enough to be brilliant. I went to one of their silkies hikes more out of curiosity than anything else, and I was instantly hooked. Part of their initial appeal was that everyone seemed to be having a blast. To an outsider, the Silkies hikes might look like a party, and in all fairness, they're not entirely wrong. From the moment I went on my first hike, I was bursting with questions. Who put this thing together, and why? How do you get thousands of veterans, many dealing with mental health issues, to unite? So it might surprise you to know that damn near 90,000 or even more vets have attended these hikes so far. Now, that's 90,000 people who were on the verge or might have been on the verge, instead of which now they're out here helping people. That's a net positive. But anyway, I digress. On with the questions. Why the Silkies? And more importantly, does it work? Does any of it work? I mean, seriously, how does this translate to saving lives? It's a valid question, and to answer it, I made my way all over the US to meet with leaders of the movement. And that's very much what it is, a movement. Oh, one last thing. We could spend hours studying statistics and listen to all kinds of experts with fancy titles, but that's not the point of this documentary. This is absolutely not a story about spit and polish type of people. They are raw and they are broken, as a very dear friend once told me. Doing what they can to keep themselves and their brothers and sisters from becoming numbers on a spreadsheet. And who they are, what they are doing, the battles they fight, and their stories are all worth telling. But to me, it's important that we hear it from them, not from outside experts, politicians, or social workers, but from the men and women in this fight. My name is Ronnie, and I want to tell you all about Irreverent Warriors. In order to understand how this whole thing actually works, we need to understand how it all started. And in order to understand how it started, we need to talk with the man that started it, Donnie O'Malley.
The organization has grown quite a lot since the early days. And I think it's a really cool story, and I think it's inspiring, and I think it serves as an example to everyone of the importance of personal growth. I think that's what a lot of this stuff comes down to. It was, let's just get together and have a good fucking time. That's it. Let's come together and laugh and have fun. And I wanted to put weight on our backs because I was always fascinated, and I just really loved, being an infantryman and having weight on my back and feeling pain everywhere, but still being able to laugh. And so I wanted us to feel that again. I wanted us to laugh in the midst of pain again. So I figured, let's throw backpacks on, let's wear our boots, we'll go hiking up the boardwalk, and we'll stop at bars, we'll talk to girls. And my buddy said, let's do it in Silkies. And I was like, yes, absolutely, we're fucking doing that. The Silkies event was born. And then we did the first event, and just thinking it would be like 10, 12 of us who went to Afghanistan together, and it turned into 75. And then that turned into hikes popping up all over the country. It just started blowing up. And then incorporated as a nonprofit to control this movement that was already happening.
Last night, 22 of us, at least minimum, didn't go to sleep. There was 22 of us that were on this earth yesterday that did not wake up this morning. And that is the cold, hard truth. Yes, sir. 22, at least. They were here yesterday. They are not here today. This is why we do these things, in all seriousness. This is why I'm glad we are a family. We do this now. The civilian world doesn't fucking understand us. Not one damn bit. I don't know about your professions, but certainly not in mine. And so that's why we have these things. This is what works. Yes, sir. Reconnecting, having some camaraderie, knowing that we're not alone. And too many of us get lost in the shuffle.
Real quick, and a lot of you know this, but I'm just going to give you the mission statement for Irreverent Warriors. We bring veterans together using humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran and active duty suicide. That's it, plain and simple. That's all we're here for. For all you know, there's somebody in this crowd right now that needs this hike more than anybody can imagine, and I would condemn anybody that would hold anything against them. We need to break down right now all of this tough guy attitude. We're here because we feel like we belong. So we should feel like we can talk to each other about anything. That's why we're here. So there is no, you're weak. There is no, oh, you don't know how to cope. No, fuck that. We're coping by doing this. This is why we're here, to cope. This is a family. This is community. Nothing but happy, love, and just irreverent shit all day. That's all that has to happen because we know it works.
the events were just fucking rage, and we're gonna power through this hike, and guys are carrying massive weight on their back, powering through hikes with a lot of weight and injuries and in hot environments. So now they're dehydrated as hell. Their body, all of the fluid in their muscles is drained, and all they're putting into their body is booze. You know, it's just stupid.
I know it sounds like things are amazing, but it hasn't always been this awesome. In fact, from everything I hear, the early days of IW were a journey of pain, and it took some heavy correction to get this bad boy back on track.
If I see you with a can or a bottle in your hand at any point from here to the beach, I have no problem telling you to leave. And that's within our rights as a coordination team and IW, all right?
There was way too much drinking, way too much anger, and just way too much partying. People just wanted to forget everything, and so IW got caught in the crossfire. But you don't have to hear it from me. Let's talk to one of the original hikers to see exactly what IW was then, so that we can understand what IW is now.
It's a lot better than it was in 2015. Like, it was kind of out of hand. There was zero regulation. I mean, we showed up, and definitely at the beginning of my hike career with IW, I had some hikes where I didn't make it to the end, not walking appropriately. I mean, I used to put the 30 rack of beer in my ruck and drink my way through it. But I'm happy that that's not how I act at hikes anymore, because looking back, I'm like, God, that's embarrassing. Like, can't get your shit together.
You know, I blame myself for setting that tone, but that's who I was. I was a freaking crazy grunt, crazy combat vet. I was recently back from Afghanistan. I mean, we're talking the first season of hikes. Already, I was just like, whoa, this shit's getting out of hand, right? I'm looking at this shit. I started this thing, and I'm like, oh, that's a little crazy. We should probably chill out.
That's a big thing. People say like, well, I don't drink, I don't want to come. So come out. I don't drink. Russell doesn't drink. I don't think John drinks out. You know, Jonathan Matlock doesn't drink. A lot of us that don't drink. That's not what it's about for us. So it's not even that I'm a coordinator. It's just there's an organization inside of an organization inside of an organization. Yeah.
We bring veterans together.
We bring veterans together.
Using humor and camaraderie.
Using humor and camaraderie.
To improve mental health.
To improve mental health.
And prevent veteran suicide.
And prevent veteran suicide.
Do not forget that mission today.
Do not forget that mission today.
I love it. I love it. We love you. I love it. All right. So this is all about networking, camaraderie. It's about finding some friends.
I think it was around, I want to say June. I called Cindy and asked her to do a hike, if I could do a hike here. July and end of July, I was diagnosed with cancer, and they really only gave me 6 months to live. You know, they said, do what you have to do because you're not going to be around much longer. And I called Cindy and I said, I think you need to know this. And she wanted to pull the hike. And I said, you can't. I said, this is what keeps me going.
I know we all been waiting for this for a very long time. Okay, and I appreciate everybody coming out.
And she said, okay, I'll get back with you. And then she called me back and said, you're good. Get a hike. This kept me, this gave me a purpose I had to finish it.
I felt isolated all the time because a lot of the people that I was around were just disrespectful, not trying to be their best, malicious, and so I isolated myself.
Basically, when I was living in Boston, which I'm not anymore, I think hindsight, now IW was basically my only connection to like happiness when I was in Boston. So I used all of my vacation time. I mean, all of it. I was always pretty much in the hole because I would take the Fridays and Mondays to go to hikes.
Irreverent Warriors, the whole organization, the mission, the purpose, it's fulfillment. It heals me to help others. You can see it in action. People becoming part of a community, becoming part of a family, they get this light back in their eyes. And a sense of purpose, that matters.
And I think that's why I've stuck with IW for so long. I've worked with a lot of organizations and some veteran organizations, and you don't get that same feeling. And I think with IW, you're with family, and that's how you feel.
The biggest thing about IW is it being personable. You know, people, there's a lot of different people in this organization, and everyone's open and willing to help you. And I feel like a lot of the other VSOs that are out there, it always comes off as someone's trying to sell you something. Somebody wants you to do something for them, you know, to be a part of it, or, you know, you either have to buy in or they want you to do certain things. With IW, it's not like that. It's more of you're part of the community.
Yeah, it's less about the organization as a whole, and it's more about the individual, because our mission is the individual. And we don't ask of the participants. We just say, hey, come and have a good time. We're not bringing them in to support the organization. We're bringing them in to support them. And it's just a good time. There's no pressure. There's no judgment. It seems like there's a lot of people out there who are just missing that specific aspect of what we can offer. And I think getting our message out there, getting awareness out there, so we can shorten that or eliminate that gap between leaving the service and joining the community, I think that will pay huge dividends. Because if we can stop people from starting that spiral that afflicts so many of us, that'd be so much better than pulling people back from that spiral. I'd much rather not have anybody start the spiral to begin with.
Just the basics of how we respect people. From the people who aren't fit, who don't look pretty, who don't fit the military poster mold, who aren't the smartest, who aren't very cool, funny, or outgoing. We're doing all this fucking work. These events all over the country, managing ridiculous events, all just to get people to be nicer to each other. When you really boil it down and you look at the culture that exists within this room, that's really what we've done. We've just all accepted that if we can all just treat each other really nice, all of a sudden everybody's smiling more and everybody's laughing more, and then you can say darker jokes and get away with it. And everyone in this room has better mental health. You would think that there was so much more to it, but it's really not. That's a testament to you all changing culture. That's powerful shit. And that's gonna continue.
Oh, dude, I'm an immigrant and I am gay, and they came and accepted me with open arms. Like, this from the outside looking in looks really intimidating, especially with like people of color or LGBT, but dude, everyone here loves each other and supports each other and pushes each other to be better. Like, outside of IW, I don't have any friends. I have no civilian friends back where I live, except for like my coworkers, but they're all veterans too anyway.
That's what I love about these hikes too. It's like, hey, let's all get together and meet up, instead of like, hey, the expectation of like, hey, you're in the military, you have to come home and visit us, right? Like, visit your family. Like, this is like, hey, let's all get together, we can make it work. So I think that's like a big part of it. And everybody that I've met here, it's that way. I can call any day, anytime. It doesn't matter where they're at.
See, I know when I visit my family, I get a lot of judgment or weird looks or like, oh, well, you don't ever come see me. But like here, I've created my own family and it just gets bigger with every hike that we do.
This is our second hike we've done together. We grew up together as stepbrothers, and he comes home on leave, and I'm currently going to the University of Wyoming, and this hike is how we get to meet up every year. When I first got out, I didn't really have any kind of a support system. Coming back to my home state, from Denver, and I didn't really have anybody, and this has really got me to get to know a lot of guys that I was in with, and a lot of guys that I wasn't in with, and that's how we kind of connect every year and get to see each other.
You just get to meet a whole bunch of people from different units, or maybe even the same unit. Like you met a guy, you were there at the same time, but you never met him before.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a small world and a small community, and you get to get out and support each other.
It's definitely worth it. See everybody out here and come together, it's a good time. At this point, it doesn't really matter. I'm here, I'm in the present. The past is the past, I can't do anything about it. So all I can do is move forward. Keep on marching.
Yes, there is a problem, but I also believe that yes, there is a solution for that problem, and that solution is us. We have to take on that solution. We have to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And I think it all lies within ourselves, that we can stop it. We just have to care.
The camaraderie, you know, I mean, it's one thing bonding with the unit you're stationed with, but, you know, it's Marines, Army, Air Force, anybody, you know, guys, girls of all ages, and just like the excitement and the happiness, like the brotherhood, sisterhood, instantly. You know, I had a few guys from my battalion and everything that ended up committing suicide, and anything that I know would help fight against that, I was all in.
Okay, so IW got off to a rough start. We've covered that. But you gotta give them credit for self-correcting. Changing culture is hard enough for any organization. And we're talking about a non-profit, and they are dealing with one of the most difficult demographic groups in all of American history, which is the modern combat veteran. Now think about that. I'm a veteran, and I'm saying it. It's hard to work with us. So I wonder what or who drove this evolution.
So I would give the credit to all of the hikers and all of the leaders who were also hikers, who saw that shit and were just like, no, I love this event. I want this to happen again, but I don't want that shit. And thankfully there was, you know, dozens to hundreds of people who had that mentality without me needing to say anything.
I think it was very driven by Mama and Nate and them wanting to serve IW, not their own personal needs or popularity. Like, they're very much the kind of sit behind the scenes and make sure everything runs perfectly without really needing the recognition, which I think is what's kind of the pivoting point of just making it about the organization, not about them and making them look good. Like, they're all about IW. I think that's what helped it.
There wasn't, I wouldn't say that there was a growing pains period before she came along. It was constant pain until she came along. The whole period pre-Cindy was pretty painful.
I know people have already mentioned Cindy and Nate, and we'll be with them shortly to get the answer to a critical question. Why IW? But before we meet them, there are some people we need to hear from first.
We bring veterans together! We bring veterans together! Using humor and camaraderie! Using humor and camaraderie! To improve mental health! To prevent veteran suicide!
My name is Jesse Rangel, United States Marine Corps, and Irreverent Warrior is the brotherhood. It's like being back in the Corps, it's a camaraderie. It's bringing everybody back together and giving us that sense of belonging. I love this event. I love what it stands for. I love how everyone has that common sense of humor and that same background. So I look forward to these every year.
I was a Navy corpsman for 13 years. Today my part as a volunteer was the safety vehicle and helping take water to the final destination. Semper Fi.
Mick Luviano, United States Army, former infantry guy, Oceanside, California. Murder, death, kill.
It's a walk in the park. Yeah, I thought that I was going to need the four-wheeler, but you know, it's a beautiful day. You're downtown Chicago. You're with a bunch of veterans. I mean, what better day could it be?
I can't explain it, man. It's just when you're around each other, it's a bond. It's like it's like this energy that only we give out towards each other. Whether you Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, it's just sort of energy, and it's just. And you know, you come here in Chicago, you know, well, I take care of you, man. You're my guest, and I'll make sure you guys are gonna have a fucking great time. This is my fucking home.
Hey, brother.
This the end of the line.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to assure all the civilians in the wonderful city of Chicago that this group of veterans has adult supervision, and that would be me.
What happened, Sean?
Oh, I was trying to get on your camera and I tripped. Trying to get into the lens space.
Trying to be a model.
Yeah.
You ate shit.
He started to hit my teeth.
Yeah, there you go. That could have been fun.
Yeah, but guess what? When you drink, you fall. Right?
Yeah.
You drink, you fall. Have I drank today, Frank?
You said, fuck you.
See, that's what you fucked up about.
What you drank last night?
I didn't drink it.
We were taking lots of shots last night.
I was trying to get on.
So now you should have some idea of the how. But the why is what really drove me to follow this story. Why would anyone come out of a peaceful retirement to deal with the headaches and heartaches of a nonprofit? And why would anyone with an insane career split their time with an organization that doesn't pay them a single cent? Their stories and their passion go a long way to answer the question, why should anyone care? I think it's time we met with a pair of true leaders. Perhaps the reason why IW is still around.
I was one of the first female TAC officers that they had. So I was I was a swimmer in high school, so I was an athlete, and I could do push-ups forever and run forever. So that's really the only the qualification that they needed from me as a female at the time, was that I was able to keep up with the men physically. Whenever I was in front of the male candidates, I was intimidating, not because of what I said or did, but the fact that I was female, I was small, and I could out-push and run most of them. So it was pretty intimidating, and I was very effective at being a TAC officer at the academy.
Great time. I was with y'all a little bit beforehand in Boston, and y'all do a really great program. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really brings a lot of camaraderie for me, and I lost my other friends. My other friends have been happy with Boston. I really want to appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that. That feedback is important.
Thank you so much. I know we all like a little bit of a jackass all the time, but to have the kind heart that you do, oh boy, does that get my f***ing dick hard. Thank you, man.
I so love it. But did you get that on camera?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
How y'all doing? Thank you, man. Can I give you a kiss on the cheek? I love you. Thank you so much, man.
Don't make me cry. You can't make me cry. Okay. Don't get me crying. It's not okay. Don't cry, Molly. I don't cry. I don't cry.
I have the ability to not take serious things serious. I can see the light side of things, and I had to. I was married to Rand for 26 years, and he was funny, and he used dark humor. He was also in medicine. Those people are also dark. They also cope with a lot of darkness, and so they use dark humor to cope as well. So it was just my lifestyle. And with the kids and with them being in the service, I was able to roll right into all their conversations, got along with all their friends. I could roll with the flow. I can make you blush. I think I've made you blush a time or two. And it's just, yeah, I think I've been using dark humor to cope before it was cool.
There were times in the Marine Corps that were terrible. There were times that were miserable, but the overall experience was something that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. You know, I do not miss being in the Marine Corps, but I miss the Marine Corps. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. The Irreverent Warriors mission, preventing veteran suicide, was something that was very personal to me. My first deployment, through one of the teams I worked with, we lost 2 or 3 Marines in the first month I was downrange to suicide back home. And we hadn't lost anyone yet downrange. So it blew my mind that we were losing people back home and we hadn't lost anybody in combat. I had no idea that that was a thing at the time. I was a very fresh Marine. But that was my awakening that it was an issue at all. I guess one of the things that was so terrifying about it was the fact that there was no direct correlation to anything. And that's what was so frightening. If you could point to something, if you could be like, okay, this guy saw combat, or this guy shot someone, or this guy lost somebody in combat, but there was none of that. There was people that had just gotten through basic training, had not even completed A school, and shot themselves. There was people that were on the rotator going downrange. There were people that successfully completed a tour and were on the way home and committed suicide. There was just no correlation to anything specific.
I tried to kill myself a long time ago. I was thrown in a mental hospital. I was thrown there with a bunch of lunatics. Bad place. You know, I got caught with drugs and all sorts of crazy shit. And they threw me in jail and in a mental hospital facility. And so I'm walking around. As soon as I get there, you know, I'm walking around and I got this. And fucking Sean comes up to me. He's like, hey, come here, come with me. Gives me a fucking blanket, you know, a little bit of soap, you know, all sorts of shit. I eventually got it. He's like, yeah. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? You know, I'm thinking, man, this guy's probably gonna fuck me in the ass, so I gotta fight this dude, you know. I gotta fuck this old man up. But, you know, hey, but fucking gives me soap, all sorts of shit. He's like, yeah, I was with 3-5 Vietnam. And I was like, no shit, dude. And started talking to him. I was like, oh, that's what's up, man. Hell yeah, you know. 1st Marine Division, fucking slave bodies. I learned, you know, the Marine Corps has a lot to do with love than it ever had to do with anything else. You know, I mean, that's true love, true fucking love. You know, love that you go back out there and you grab your, you know, you catch guys, whether they're fighting their own mental battle or they're fighting the battle out in the fight. I'm gonna tell you something, man. You know me, I got no problem running towards some crazy stupid shit. You know, that's easy. The hardest part, man, this is the real battle. It's here. That's a tougher battle. It's in here.
I started a chapter of Blue Star Mothers. I founded that chapter in Central Texas. It's a Department of Defense organization for military parents. My personal responsibility was I was the Blue to Gold liaison for Central Texas. And what that means is basically when the CAO or the CACO officer would visit with the parents when there was a killed in action, I was the civilian counterpart to that. So I would assist him and be with the mother, help her make funeral arrangements, and help her ask questions that, you know, you're so numb at that moment you don't know what to ask. So I was experienced enough that I could help her ask the questions from the CACOs or the CAOs. Well, I spoke at least 20 military funerals or interments, and I presented over 30 Gold Star banners. So I understood the pain in standing next to these women as they buried their children. I felt that was my ministry because I was able to hold myself together and be what they needed. I had to prepare myself at times. Sometimes I just have to take a knee ahead of time and grieve, or I'd have to hold it back until afterwards, but I was always strong in front of these women. I did that for about 5 years, and after Stephanie had gotten out, I turned the chapter over to somebody else, and I just started living my own life because I threw myself into it, and I did it all the time. It's just what I did.
I decided to make a difference stateside. And one of the ways I could do that, aside from, operationally as a contractor, was on the suicide front, mental health front. So I was doing that in as many ways as I could, and none of them seemed that effectual. None of them were having an immediate effect, but I was still trying. And I didn't realize exactly how effective Irreverent Warriors was going to be. I didn't even really know that much about Irreverent Warriors. But this event seemed cool. It seemed fun. And it was something that I could throw myself into that I could help with.
Hey, give them one! You guys are so quiet! Give them one!
I truly believe that this mission, the values and everything that Irreverent Warriors is becoming is just going to continue to grow, and it's something for me personally because I've been there. I have tried to kill myself, and the reason I did it was because I felt alone. I felt like nobody was there, that I was a burden on everybody else. And then I finally met some people who got it. And for me personally, I know I've said this so many times, but when I was suicidal, I was falling. I was falling in the darkness by myself, and I just wanted to stop until I met my new family, and they were my network. They were my safety net that caught me when I was falling. When my ship was sinking, I was planning to go down with it, but now that I've met people, those are my life reserve. Those are my lifeboats that I can jump on, just for a short little trip till I get back to land, ground myself back down. That to me is what Irreverent Warriors is.
Would you just mind saying your first name, last name, and spelling them?
Now you have to say your name.
Hi.
I am a leader.
So in 2018, I had 4 friends that were veterans commit suicide who didn't know each other at all within 3 weeks. So in that 3 week time span, I had 4 friends kill themselves. And it took a toll on me. Like, I sold everything, because I was gonna kill myself too because of that. So I sold all my stuff, I got this new job, moved to Seattle, so I could pretty much be financially okay. So when I did off myself, I wouldn't put my family in a burden. And I didn't know anyone there, so I messaged the IW group that I was in from 2015. I said, hey, is anybody in Seattle, because I'm moving there? And Michelle was the one that hit me up. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll hang out with her until, I kill myself. And then she started bringing me to all these events, started plugging me back into the veteran network, and I was like, oh, it's not so bad. Maybe, I'll stick around for a little bit. My death date was supposed to be December 23rd, 2018. Yeah, and because of IW being plugged back in, me being able to help people, that's why I'm still here today. There is something beautiful about unforced bonds because the energy is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to get your balloons popped? Are you ready to get your balloons popped? All right, stand by.
But I don't think anybody thought that Irreverent Warriors was going to go where it's gone today.
I got the proverbial knock on the door in the middle of the night. And when I looked out and I saw the uniforms, there were 2 uniforms standing outside. They were police officers, but at the time, with Stephanie being downrange, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Stephanie died. And so I hesitated to open the door, but when I did, I just kind of stood there, and they told me, this, we're really sorry to bring you this news, and my whole body just kind of, I was bracing for it. And they said, your husband took his life tonight. And it didn't register with me. I was like, wait, Stephanie's okay. I gotta know, is Stephanie okay? And they didn't understand my question. And they said, no ma'am, your husband took his life tonight. And I'm like, okay. And then I just kind of stood there, and they were like, do you need to sit down? I'm like, yeah, I should probably sit down. And they said, is there somebody we can call to be with you? I said, no, my kids are here. know, and I didn't even know what questions to ask. And maybe that takes me back to why it is that when I sat next to these mothers, I know they don't know the questions to ask, because I sat there numb, not knowing what to ask. And they stood there for half an hour. They were amazing.
I was on the couch, and Mom came in and sat at my feet, and she kind of squished my feet. And I woke up and looked at her, and she was looking right through me. She wasn't even there. Somehow I knew it was Dad. That was the very first thing I went to when I knew something was wrong. Was it Dad? And she shook her head and said yes. And I said, is he alive? And she shook her head and said no, and just started to come unglued. And the sense of my being leaving my body from head to toe, just everything poured out of me, and I was entirely numb. It was so surreal. Felt like a dream. He was a hero to me. Like, there's nothing that can mess with Dad. Dad's a monster, but he's gone now, and it scared me. You know, God, if something happened to Dad, I'm not as tough as I thought I was, because I thought he was the toughest guy in the world. So where's that put me? And then things turned south really quick. You know, school was not a priority. My athletics weren't. I never put skis on again after he died. I gave that up entirely.
Because he was your coach?
Yeah.
Take a minute.
Yeah.
So I got busy planning a funeral, and I was strong for my kids, and I had to call Stephanie. Like I said, she was downrange, so I called her husband at the time, and I said, told him what happened. So they brought her home, and it took her, a few days to get home, obviously. And so in the meantime, I just took care of business.
The night that he shot himself, he called me. I was at work, and he called the hotel. I was a receptionist at the hotel, and the girl I was working with, she's like, your dad's on the phone. Great. So I picked up the phone, and I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, I just need to talk. I'm really depressed. I'm really sad. I said, well, Daddy, I'm at work. I can't talk right now, but I'll call you later. And I never called him back. And that he had called and he had tried to reach out. But I always wonder what my life would have been like if it wasn't for all that had happened, And that's a stupid gameplay, so, because it's impossible, but that's what I get sad a lot about what could have been.
IW gave me an opportunity to redeem myself to myself, ultimately, because there's nobody I needed to prove that to, that I could give back what I thought I had given away when I left my dad. I needed that for myself. I needed to redeem myself to me. I was able to say, yeah, my dad died, but not for no reason, not for no cause, because this right here, this is inspired by him. What I contribute, what I invest into this organization was inspired by him. So any life that is saved in this organization from that moment forward is, in my world, thanks to him, and thanks to my ability to recognize that that pain needed to be dealt with. And the only way to deal with that is to try to give it value. And not negative value, positive value. Fix it. You can't take back his death, but we can stop some others. It doesn't have to end there.
How many lives have been saved through Irreverent Warriors? It's beyond me, but just personally, I mean, firsthand interactions with people where I know they were right there. They had their finger on the trigger, but they came out to IW because they promised somebody they would. They said, all right, I'll kill myself, but I'll go to this hike first, and then I'll do it. And that's more than one person that I've met personally that I know have been right on the edge and stepped back because they wanted to be out here for one of these hikes. And knowing that somebody's son is gonna grow up with a dad is worth it.
What kept me here, what keeps me going, there are so many aspects to this that go far beyond, that reach way beyond just feeling like I have a passion about stopping veteran suicide because my dad committed suicide. I have a passion about this organization because they stopped my suicide. Because quite frankly, just because you're in a good spot now doesn't mean you're gonna be in a good spot a year from now. I went through a really dark phase. The only way I came out of that was because of this family. They pulled me out. They kept me alive. They are, shit. As my super cheesy cliche quote, like, my heart beats for this organization. It beats because of this organization. I live and breathe for these guys. I breathe for them, I breathe with them, I breathe because of them. This family, shit. I don't cry very often, damn it.
You know, I believe that when people reach out to Neil or when people reach out to Stephanie or my mom, there's purpose in their pain. Like what they've overcome and the things that they've been through, they're now able to reach out to other people and be like, hey, come on, let me help you out of there. I've been there. This is where I'm at now, so come on, let's go. You know, I know how you feel, but you don't have to feel that forever, you know? So, pain without purpose is devastating. But when you get to a point where your pain has purpose and you share that with people, it brings out like a whole new level of healing.
There is no substitute for this family, for a veteran-to-veteran connection. Whether you want to talk about conventional therapy or psychiatrics or, you know, medication, you can talk about a million different ways that suicide is attempted to be prevented. There is no substitute for family. There's no substitute for a brother reaching out to a brother or a sister reaching out to a sister and saying, you matter. Hey, are you okay? I've got your back right now. Let's talk. And that's what Irreverent Warriors enables. It creates that network. It bridges the gap between a veteran and another veteran. There's a darkness that is so unique. And that is found. It is found so exclusively in the isolation of a veteran in their darkest hour. Irreverent Warriors is saving lives every single day. We have messages, emails, phone calls. I go to events and have veterans walk up to me and tell me every single event, bro, I almost pulled the trigger. Last week, it was almost the end. Every single day, Irreverent Warriors saves lives.
100% I know for a fact that Irreverent Warriors is saving lives today and every day, even when there's not a hike going on. Because what the hikes have done is they have facilitated connections between people who otherwise wouldn't be connected. So the two people make friends at a hike, and now they both have something to look forward to. And just having something to look forward to makes you a little bit less likely to kill yourself. At least those who I've known who have killed themselves and my own experience with it. It's like, I didn't have anything to look forward to. Everything that I had to look forward to was depressing, didn't make me happy, didn't provide me with a positive view of my future. And having one person who you're excited to talk to, you're excited to get a text from them, you're excited to see them. Even I used to always say, meet up at a bar. I'm trying to get away from that. Just meet up and go for a walk together in a park, go for a run, go play basketball, throw the baseball, something, right? That little thing to look forward to. you're a little bit less likely to do it.
Well, my dad was a Marine. He said something to me that made me push forward. He said, we gotta live a life that they can no longer live. We live for them. Because we're blessed with this life that we live. So no matter what kind of demons you're fighting inside, you know, it's we gotta be happy that, you know, we got this life. And you know, life itself is a battle. And my dad was right, dude. We gotta live a life that they can't live. We gotta live it for them. We gotta stay alive. No matter how old you get, man, we're still that young 19-year-old warfighter, dude. And here we can be that. And no one can judge us. Thank you, Frankie. I love you.
That's why we're here. For many of us, this is why we stood up, raised our right hands. And when the nation called, we said, here I am, send me. We answered our nation's call when our nation needed us. And because we did that, we will forever be different. Because we're not normal. Because normal is turning and running away when shit like this happens. And instead, we turned and ran towards it. And for that, we will only be able to have each other for the rest of our lives. And that's why we're here. We're here for all of those brothers and sisters who are not here with us today, who couldn't handle the fight with the demons, who couldn't handle the battle anymore and had to check out. We're here for them, and we're here for each other, so that when it gets dark and you're alone in your own head and you feel like you're done, you got brothers and sisters now that you can call, that you can tweet, that you can text, that you can hit on the DM and say, bro, I need help. Sis, I need help. We're here. We're here for each other, and we will always be here. And that's why Irreverent Warriors exists, because we only have each other. Brothers and sisters, I love each and every one of you. I've been coming to these hikes for 5 years. I'll keep coming back. Bro, I'm gonna be with you every year. Come back, because this is all we got. This is all we got.
One of the things that happens is people ask us if we're okay. And because we are who we are trained the way we're trained, we're gonna say, yeah, we are. Because it's far easier to say we're okay than to tell the truth, why we're not. We can be honest in these hikes. When people say, are you okay? And you can say, no. Or you can say, yeah, I'm okay, but. You can't say that to the people around you and your family. It takes far more energy to explain why we're not than to say that we are. So, no, we're not okay. But we're gonna say we are. And it's these people in the hikes that allow us the opportunity to express why we're not. I know that people have asked us, what are you doing to end veteran suicide? And we're never going to. We're just not. I've been down this road. It's not gonna happen. There was no reason for what happened to me happened to me. I don't know what I could have done different. I would have liked to think that if he had the opportunity to be a part of what we're doing now, maybe something would have been different. I don't know. But we're not going to end veteran suicide. But we are going to turn the tide. We're going to change things.
I really hope to see you in 100 more hikes and for 20 more years. But if this is your last hike and I never see you again, what would you tell me? What would you tell future Irreverent Warriors or future hikers? What would you leave with them?
Never give up. Because you don't know who you might touch. If I go to a hike and touch one person, that one person can touch somebody else. Sorry. So, if we all think that way, how many lives can we save? Because every life is worth it. mean, we've already been through hell. If we just go to a hike and touch one person, just talk to one person, you just don't know. And then that one person talks to one person. Just think about it for a minute. How many people can we save?
So to answer the why, it's really quite simple. They fight this battle because someone has to, because there is a problem in this community, but there is also a solution, and that solution is us. You see, there will always be a war, and someday there may be a really big one. You might not see it, but your children or grandchildren may. And I hope, as you must, that when they come home, they will be taken care of, loved, respected, and welcomed by a grateful nation. Irreverent Warriors isn't promising a cure or an easy fix. Only this, that when the warrior comes home, they will not have to go it alone. Their brothers and sisters await them. This battle won't be easy, but it doesn't have to be fought alone. Ever.
So it's like 50 degrees and it's pouring cold ass water. You wouldn't have any other way. It's raining water. Oh my God. It's raining water.
To some of us, it always feels like we're still hiking back home. But now we don't have to feel that we're hiking home alone. Whatever comes next, we will march on.
to a Ranger and a Marine. Rangers lead the way. That's what I've been saying all fucking day, but nobody rely on Marines. Rangers are basically trained Marines. Oh!
Whoa, is it wetness or just sweat?